Russell M. Nelson has died. Never heard of the character before this story. Okay, Russell Marion Nelson Sr. was an American religious leader and surgeon who was the 17th president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from January 14 until his death. And that's January 14, 2018. Until his death. Okay, so uh, a little bit over 7 years there, right? Okay, now the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I don't follow like these religious organizations, but also known as the LDS Church, aims to help its members follow Jesus Christ by living his gospel, serving others, and strengthening their families. Hey, whatever works for you, right? If that, you can get some kind of positivity out of that. Okay, good for you, right? Members are encouraged to share the message of Christ, provide humanitarian aid globally, and engage in community service through local congregations. The church also emphasizes family history, temple work, and achieving self-reliance. Like, what is temple work? What is temple work when it comes to the LDS church? Refers to sacred ordinances performed in temples for the living and the dead, most notably baptisms for the dead and eternal sealings. That stuff's interesting. I'm not into that for sure. But look at the title of the story here, okay? You get all the symbolism. Russell M. Nelson, oldest ever president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, dies. Okay, this guy was 101 years old. All right, this guy was 101 years old. He died at his home in Salt Lake City, Utah. The church gave the announcement. A former heart surgeon, spent 4 decades in the highest levels of church leadership after he was selected in 1984 to join a top church governing body called the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. He ascended to the presidency, as I stated earlier, in January 2018 when Thomas S. Monson died, and in 2024 became the first president of the faith to hit the century mark. The next president of the faith, known widely as the Mormon Church, was not immediately named, but it is expected to be Dallin H. Oaks per church protocol. He is the next longest tenured member of the church's governing quorum of the 12 apostles. So I guess the Mormon church is the same as the LDS church, apparently, when I ask Google over here. So
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has died. According to a statement from the church, he passed away peacefully at home last night. President Nelson became leader of the church in 2018 and was known for expanding temple construction and leading global ministry efforts. Before his church service, he was a longtime heart surgeon in Utah. Nelson was 101 years old, the oldest president in the history of the church. Funeral arrangements and the selection of his successor have not been announced. There are more than 150 The Church of Jesus Christ locations in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, including the temple in Montgomery County, which completed renovations in 2022.
okay, right. So I told you it was, we get that president connection in there. Is it a sign of things to come with our president of the United States because, you get all the language in here. President of the LDS Church dies at 101. We have to assume this is old age, right? I wonder if he was battling any kind of health conditions. But 101, he was old. President, like Donald John Trump is the president. Now, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you get Christ, that's Fred Trump's middle name, Donald Trump's dad. I wonder what the football Saints did on Sunday as well. Let me pull that up real quick cuz the stuff is with the language. It doesn't mean it's like gonna hit, but you would want to pull up the football New Orleans Saints just to maybe get an idea of the score of their last game. It looks like they played the Bills and it was 31 to 19. The Saints are winless at 0-4, but I'll just kind of leave that there. And maybe something will click here in a bit. Maybe not, but it's okay. So this guy's really connected to politics because, first off, he dies right after his birthday. Okay, he dies just after his birthday. He's born September 9th. He dies September 27th. His last birthday leaves 113 days in the year, just like politics equals 113. You get a Charlie Kirk connection because they both died in Utah. All right. So a lot of Utah energy out there. Charlie Kirk obviously connected to Donald Trump, the president of the United States. Now you get this old LDS president with the Utah connection, and you get the president connection, right? P, president, politics, P, Christ. You get it all in here. Now, Utah with Charlie Kirk, and, this guy dies not long after Charlie Kirk. It's 18 days to be exact after his birthday. He dies. Look at how they put his name, Russell M. Nelson, in the reverse cipher, 180 like 18. You even get 81 in reverse reduction. So you get those same numbers with how they list his name right there, connected with his birthday and his death date. Even the next president right here expected to be Dallin H. Oaks. Dallin is kind of like Don, huh? Dallin, Don, kind of, right? But notice his middle name is Harris, like Kamala Harris. So look at all of these connections to Donald Trump. Okay, look at all these connections to Donald Trump. Are these, even though this guy was older, are these all like sacrifices to keep the Donald Trump character? Because it's got to be by the numbers, right? So if all this stuff connected to him by the numbers, you get deaths, negative stories, and they got Trump numbers. Is that being manipulated to keep Donald Trump's character on the world stage because somebody has to go by the numbers? Is that, I'm curious. Or like I mentioned earlier, is the pattern just gonna not be able to miss Trump and he's gonna be taken off the world stage? I mean, everybody's got to go eventually, right? But what are the odds you get all of these connections again And this time it's not really with the name, right? Not really with the name of the character this time, but you get everything else in there. There might even actually be something with the name. We can just check possibly later, okay? So I want you to see that they say this guy is going to take over. So it's just going to be old guy after old guy, right? This guy's the next longest tenure member of the church's governing quorum of the 12 apostles. Look at how he's got the 108. Just like Joseph Robinette Biden Jr.'s got the 108 right there. And you get the Biden president, Trump connection, Biden, uh, right? That history with Biden and Trump. And man, Biden is the oldest of the 5 living US presidents. You see that? And then this old president of the LDS church dies, oldest ever. You see that? Oldest ever, oldest ever. And the guy who's supposed to take Russell M. Nelson's place, his name syncs up with Biden by the numbers. You see that? Look at that right there. Okay. Right? Trump becomes the president. Biden takes over for Trump. Biden kind of takes a back seat. Trump beats out Kamala. So you get these connections, and then this dude's middle name is Harris, right? Come on. Now look at his birthday right there. Dude who's going to take over, expected to. Look at the birthday. The 12th day of the 8th month. This is the guy that Russell M. Nelson took over for Thomas S. Monson. His birthday, the 21st day of the 8th month. So you get August 12th, 812, and then 9 days later, 821. So all 3 of these guys connected with the LDS Church, former president, current president that dies, now the one who's supposed to take over. Look at how they're all connected. Even with the 12, and it's the governing body called the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. You see that? The top church governing body. So you get that 12. You get that connection with those birthdays. Now look, this just connected to the Minnesota Lynx breakdown I did, where their coach was suspended for game 4 against the Phoenix Mercury in the WNBA playoffs. Because look, with 21.8 seconds to play, Cheryl Reeve, inappropriate comments made to fans when exiting the court. She picked up her second technical, if I remember correctly. Remarks made in the post-game conference about the refereeing and all of that. 21.8 seconds to play, this went down in that game. 21.8, and that's Thomas S. Monson's birthday. Right there. The former president of the LDS Church. Come on, right? And links, that 21, which again connects with that birthday, and the 12, the quorum of the 12 apostles. I mentioned earlier the guy who's supposed to be the new president, expected to be with the middle name Harris, like Kamala Harris. You can see Trump numbers connected to these characters right there. Okay, so the guy Russell M. Nelson takes over for Thomas S. Monson. Look at that, 185, 50, and 166. Just like Russell Nelson when you take the M out. You see how that connects to Donald Trump. Donald equals 50, Donald John Trump 185. Even Trump's birthday in the leap year is the 166th day of the year. You can even drop the initial for Thomas S. Monson. Thomas Monson's got the 166. Russell Nelson, 76 like Donald John Trump. It even connects to the Minnesota Lynx, not only with that 218, with Cheryl Reeve right there, but Minnesota Lynx equals 185 and 166. This stuff is definitely linked up. Minnesota M, Monson M. Look at this is when that suspension took place. Well, this is the game where where she kind of blew up and had to be escorted off. Look at it, left the series against the Mercury at 2-1 or 1-2 right there. So you get that 1-2, 2-1 one more time. And of course, Arizona equals 84. Phoenix picking up the victory in that game, scoring 84 points. They went on to win the next game, knocked the Lynx out. Phoenix advances to the WNBA Finals. But look at that 84. Because Nelson was selected in 1984 to join a top church governing body called the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. You see that right there? And then ascended to presidency in January 2018. And the dude he took over for, Thomas Spencer Monson, equals 84. So one more decode where these other stories are connected. Look at the senator of Utah who's been in the news because Charlie Kirk died there as well. Senator Mike Lee of Utah posted a warm tribute to Nelson on social media shortly after the announcement. He was born in Mesa, Arizona. That's where I'm at. And you get that Phoenix Mercury connection with the Arizona connection, Phoenix, Arizona. Look at that. So I guess we got to go over here and watch the video.
Breaking news this time out of Utah, where the Church of Latter-day Saints has announced their president, Russell M. Nelson, has died at the age of 101. Mr. Nelson became an apostle in the church in 1984 and became the president in 2018, the oldest in the history of the church. He is survived by his wife, Wendy, 8 of his 10 children, 57 grandchildren.
Even 8 of his 10 children, so you get that 81 again. Dies 18 days after his birthday. And that 180 and 81 that I showed with his name earlier, that connects with the guy taking over, allegedly, who's got the 108 like Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. And there was a whole bunch of Bidens. There was a whole bunch of connections with Biden. President Biden equals 81. And there was a whole bunch of 1881 connections with Biden that has been covered in the past as well.
And more than 167 great-grandchildren.
Okay, so there's probably a Russell Wilson connection with the football season going on as well. I'm not going to get into that right now. 5:30 here in Arizona. Okay, so I was talking about the significant changes to the church he made. And I guess, I don't see anything here where they're talking about major health issues. Obviously, making it to 101, I don't know. Is that good or bad? Does anybody want to live till they're 101? And they got all of this stuff here in the article, which I'm not going to go over all of this stuff. Here talking about the alphabet group right there. Okay, so that's my decode. Russell M. Nelson, oldest ever president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oh, they said the Mormon Church is the same thing. Mormon equals 88 right there. Look, Mormons got 88 like Trump, 29 like Trump. Trump equals 47. Mormons got 74. And you get a connection here with Jesus Christ. 74. Remember, Jesus Christ has Trump's birthday the 14th day of the 6th month, but Jesus Christ has that 74 like Mormon right there. LDS Church has 48 like Donald Trump has 48. Okay, Russell M. Nelson, oldest ever president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, dies 101 years old. Until next time.